It is honestly one of the worst scorecards that I've seen in a really long time.
Never did I say I saw the stupid fucking shit that was written, by all these stupid fucking websites.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Inside the Cage, where we bring you the latest and exciting updates of UFC. First, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Daniel Cormier goes off on Noche UFC controversy. Here is the latest buzz that's been going on after Noche UFC. Everyone has a heated debate around the results of the showdown. In this situation, Daniel Cormier isn't exactly on the same page as Mike Bell and Chris Tognoni when it comes to their recent decisions at the event. Later on, the drama started with Mike Bell's eyebrow-raising call. He gave Alexa Grasso a 10-8 score for the 5th round, which turned the main event on its head. Now, Daniel Cormier jumped into the discussion with his post-fight reaction, and he didn't hold back. He had some words for Mike Bell's controversial scorecard in the women's flyweight title fight. You could say he dropped some knowledge bombs.
Felt to me like Mike Bell, I don't know what he could have watched to score that 5th round, a 10-8 for Alexa Grasso. Now, she won the round. No doubt about it, she won the round. But a 10-8 is just, it is honestly one of the worst scorecards that I've seen in a really long time.
Essentially, he goes as far as to call it one of the worst scorecards he's seen in a long time, suggesting that the judge's decision was both unexpected and questionable in his professional opinion. In the world of MMA, fighters aren't afraid to speak their minds, and what's even more heartening is that they often rally behind their fellow fighters. It is just like a tight-knit community where they're not just competing against each other, but also looking out for one another. It adds a whole different level of fellowship to the sport. Former UFC title hopeful's shocking drug test results. It's quite a story, and a bit of a roller coaster for UFC veteran Ovince St. Preux. This guy has been in the UFC game for more than a decade, and guess what? Nowadays, he's found himself in hot water with USADA for the 2nd time. But what is the real reason? Ovince St. Preux faced a suspension from USADA after not 1, but 2 out-of-competition drug tests raised some red flags with a banned substance. This isn't his first tango with USADA, though. Back in 2019, he got caught up in a similar situation and had to serve a 3-month suspension because of a contaminated supplement. Fast forward to this year, and it looks like déjà vu. Moreover, USADA reported that the 40-year-old fighter had failed out-of-competition tests in June and July. Now here's where it gets interesting. St. Preux managed to provide USADA with a container of the supplement he was using. And guess what? It had 1-androstenedione in it, which was a no-no, but it wasn't even listed on the label. As a result, he's accepted a 6-month suspension starting from the date of that first failed test in June. Now he is facing a tough break from his career, but he takes it as a reminder of how strict the anti-doping rules are in the world of professional sports. Although St. Preux was not using a certified supplement, he received a reduction to his period of ineligibility because he was able to prove that his positive test was caused by a contaminated product, and the very low levels detected in the products would not have benefited his performance. Given that this was his 2nd violation, an increased period of ineligibility from what he received for his 1st violation was appropriate. Per the official statement from USADA, this whole situation is a bit of a head-scratcher as well. Ovince St. Preux managed to hand over that tainted supplement, and it kind of suggests that he didn't have any sneaky plans to use banned stuff. But wait, the main point is, it's still his 2nd run-in with USADA, and that's not great news for a guy who's been in the UFC for more than a solid decade. Sometimes, in the world of professional sports, these situations can be like walking a tightrope, and even unintentional slip-ups can lead to some tough consequences. Video of Alex Pereira's son's audacious prank. You won't believe what Alex Pereira's son tried to pull off. He introduced a classic prank for his father that nearly turned into a real-life action scene. Quite interesting. Now, if we talk about the video, that is what happened in the moment. Then, Pereira's son, all dressed up in a sleek black suit, decides to set the stage. Later on, he hides in the shadows at the end of a dark staircase in their home, plotting to scare the daylights out of his dad. As Pereira, the former UFC middleweight champ, strolls into the house and flicks on the light switch. That's the cue for his son to make his move. And boy, right at the moment he jumped out with all the enthusiasm of a prankster. But here's where things took an unexpected twist. Oh. On the other side of the wall, Pereira thinks he's in for some kind of surprise attack. Suddenly, he goes all fighter mode, ready to throw a punch. Yep, he's squared up and ready to rumble. It's like something out of an action movie. But then the magic moment happens. Pereira realizes it's not an intruder but his son, who's already hit the floor in sheer terror at the sight of his dad preparing to throw down. After that, Pereira shared the whole hilarious ordeal on his Instagram. And guess the caption, my friend. In a caption, he wrote, "I had to post. That's It's just ha ha ha." Moreover, Pereira was annoyed when he fell for that prank, but Manon, he didn't hold back on giving his son a good scolding, that's for sure. I mean, picture this big fighter, ready to throw a punch, and then he realizes it's just his kid on the floor, although he didn't let it get to him too much. But in the end, he understood it was all in good fun, and he didn't take it too seriously. I guess that's what being a champ both in and out of the ring is all about. Guys, if you're enjoying the video, we'd love your support. Just hit that subscribe button to motivate us to bring you more exciting content. Mike Tyson's bizarre plan to create the fight of the century. Well, it looks like having Mike Tyson in his corner hasn't exactly shifted the odds in Francis Ngannou's favor in the upcoming Fury versus Ngannou showdown. Right now, if you check out the latest boxing odds, Tyson Fury is sitting pretty as the overwhelming favorite. Recently, Fury's got the odds stacked heavily in his favor at minus 1,200 to win, while Ngannou is still the underdog at plus 700. See, there is no beating around the bush here. These odds are pretty crystal clear, with Fury expected to comfortably take the win in Saudi Arabia. Now, here's the thing about Ngannou. Eventually, he made a name for himself in the octagon with his knockout power. A whopping 71% of his UFC victories have come by way of knockout. So, he's got that raw power that could potentially trouble Fury. But here's the catch. He might not have the refined boxing skills to fully exploit it. This is the spot where Mike Tyson comes in. Here, Tyson's been brought into the mix to help Ngannou figure out how to crack Fury's typically impenetrable defense. It's a tall order because Fury's got some seriously slick footwork and head movement for a guy who's over 2 meters tall. Whereas Tyson's got his work cut out for him as he tries to devise a game plan to help Ngannou take on what many consider to be the greatest boxer in history. Most probably, Tyson claimed Ngannou's best boxing skills on X. His strategy might revolve around having Ngannou go all out in the opening rounds, targeting Fury's body with those power shots to lower his guard. Tyson famously said about his strategy during his whole career, "Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." So yeah, if that happens, and Fury drops his guard, then Ngannou might just get the chance to reveal his devastating power and go for the knockout. Dana White faces a storm of criticism from the MMA community. Next, did you catch the UFC 293 post-fight press conference? You know, this press conference was completely wild, especially with Sean Strickland pulling off that upset win over Israel Adesanya in Sydney. Here, Dana White, the UFC CEO, had some interesting things to say. He mentioned that he wants a rematch between Sean Strickland and Israel Adesanya. From his perspective, this rematch is going to be exciting in the MMA world, but a twist occurs for Dana White. Meanwhile, people seem not to agree with the rematch between Sean Strickland and Israel Adesanya. That is why Dana White is clarifying and addressing the media's speculation and criticism about his comments. He's essentially saying that while people may have interpreted his previous remarks as a definite confirmation of a rematch, that's not what he intended.
If you remember that night, people said, "Well, what do you think? You think it's a rematch?" I said, "Yeah, the rematch sounds great." Never did I say I saw the stupid fucking shit that was written, by all these stupid fucking websites. Never once did I say, "Yes, we're gonna fucking do this rematch." I said, "Yeah, the rematch sounds, we'll see what happens." There's obviously lots of options out there, and we'll see what happens. But yes, I'm still not opposed to an Israel rematch. We'll see how it goes.
Overall, this clarification showed that he did not want to answer these heated questions properly and to avoid creating unrealistic expectations or pressure for the fighters involved. All right, guys, that's all for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. See you at the next one. Until then, goodbye.